it was really interesting to translate all of my angst and my like unhappiness and dissatisfaction with the equipment we had in combat into tech solutions that now I'm like delivering back into the force. To your point, there are lots of, MIT, Harvard dropouts that thought, oh, we could build the next great X or Y or Z thing for the military and they'll buy it, of course, because it's the best of whatever. And no, sorry, you don't know how to solve the last mile of go-to-market and defense. And I met with Palmer and Brian at Anduril. I was like, hey, you guys have been now running hard for a couple of years. You're obviously bushwhacking ahead of a lot of us. Like, what are some of your lessons learned? And one of the two of them said, hire a lobbyist, and hire them yesterday. I'm Garrett Smith, founder and CEO of Reveal Technology. Welcome to the Drone Wars podcast.
Garrett, thank you for joining us.
Do I have to look at the camera?
You can do
at all
whatever
in
you
this?
want. Talk to me.
Not straight down the barrel? All right. Okay.
No, you can
Producer Emma's saying,
Exactly.
hell no, we don't want you to look anywhere where the camera can tell you're glassy-eyed.
Yeah, no, the mean producer. She will tell you what to do.
She's a taskmaster.
Yeah, she's good too. Data-driven decision making. That's what Emma does.
Absolutely.
All right. So, who is Garrett, and what is a reveal?
That's a great set of questions. Very well phrased. What is Garrett, and who is Reveal? Did I get that right?
Hey, whatever order you would like, sir.
So I'm currently the co-founder and CEO at a company called Reveal Technology. Deep background, I'm a Marine, Mustang Marine.
I never would have guessed.
I wear it. I wear the colors. Mustang meaning that I enlisted once upon a time, and then my wife caught wind of the idea that officers make more money. So she nominated me for OCS, and somebody said yes, and I went and became an officer. So I left active duty end of 2011, but I still serve in the reserves. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Reserves now, despite how my hair or my facial hair might look. And I couldn't shake the national security bug, so I started Reveal Technology with a bunch of my friends. That's 7 years ago now, so over 7 years ago, and Reveal is, I think, doing some important work in reinventing how software is deployed into the tactical edge ecosystem. So I don't know if that fully scratches your who is Garrett and what is Reveal itch, but I did my best.
No, you did a good job.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so talk to me about like that transition out of serving and then like building a tech company. I mean, these are kind of very different things for a lot of people, but a lot of people like find a lot of similarities in the two things. I'd love to hear your take.
I hope I'm not insulting many of the folks who chose to stay in the military for a career or beyond the kind of the 5-10 year time horizon, but I left before they lobotomize you. So like I left the active duty before I'd kind of lost myself to the system, and I remained kind of an angsty Marine who never quite had everything he needed. So I had a lot of ideas about what should have been and how to correct things and whatever. So I left thinking, I'm going to fix this some way, somehow.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, a few years after grad school and I cut my teeth in business, I figured out that Silicon Valley and the tech ecosystem, I say Silicon Valley in quotes, like that's not a place anymore. It's like more of an idea. But it was really interesting to translate all of my angst and my like unhappiness and dissatisfaction with the equipment we had in combat into tech solutions that now I'm like delivering back into the force. So I don't think everybody has a transition like mine, but it's been good. We've also been working hard. Like I've got some gray in the beard and some gray in the temples, and I'm not a young man anymore.
No, you're beautiful.
But I look good, right?
You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Your wife paid me to say that, by the way.
Thanks, Kim.
So, at what year do you get lobotomized, in your opinion, if you stay in the military?
Not everybody has to. Not everybody
does.
They don't. Not everybody submits to it. But there is something that happens once you kind of like get institutionalized. And I don't think it's a specific year or a specific rank, but something in that like 8 to 12 year time horizon. There are the people who like just kind of like lean in and become part of the system. And then there are the rest who kind of, I think it's a minority of folks who choose to lead and be creative and, stay in the system and try and fix things from within. And I think all of those personas are good to go. But it was not for me. The active duty was definitely not for me. I'm not even though I've remained in the reserves, I'm not like somebody who bows quickly to authority. I kind of have my own ideas and I got to do my own thing,
Reoccurring trait for founders.
Yeah. Yeah.
have hard time with authority.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. I don't like being told no.
Yep.
Yeah, it's yeah. I
Only
think
one who
that's,
can boss you around is your wife.
yeah, and even sometimes she has to, instead of bossing me around, she finds that's impossible, so she sends me out of the house and
There you
sends
go.
me on a business trip.
Yeah.
Can't deal with me.
Go sell some software.
Go bring home some bacon.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so where are you guys based out of?
So we are a fully remote company. We have about 125 employees right now. Just to timestamp this, it's late February 2026. So who knows when this drops? Maybe we're like 3 times as big, or maybe we've downsized significantly. But we're 125, and it's a fully remote company. We're a software company. Got people all over the place, but we run things from Bozeman, Montana, which I think is the hidden gem of the American West. It's the frontier, in the sense that like, it's the American frontier. It feels, in a low population state, the wilderness is right out your back door, but it also feels like the frontier in the sense that building is happening there. Like anything could happen there. You could adventure there. You could dream up and manifest anything there. So it feels really kind of like alive in that way. But yeah, Bozeman, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah. Were you friends with Tim Sheehy before he was famous?
I was friends with him before he became like a national name.
Yeah.
And friends is probably a strong word. Like he was one of the successful of our generation, like tech business people in Gallatin Valley, which is where Bozeman is, where we all live. And he hadn't yet, or had just taken, when I met him, he had just taken Bridger Aerospace public, and he just sold AVT to CACI, and had just made a bunch of money, and was kind of like, everyone kind of knew that he was the name in town.
Sure.
And then, it didn't surprise anybody when he announced the Senate race or the Senate campaign, and then beat John Tester in 24. And yeah, I mean, I think he's doing the job, right? He's a U.S. senator, and he's a feisty, angry, member of our generation repping the state. Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting. Like, you don't think of like Bozeman as a technology place, but he built a juggernaut. You're building a juggernaut out of there. What's in the water?
Yeah, what's in the water? Not much, it turns out. Like, not a lot of pollutants in that water. It's pure energy up there.
Cool.
I don't know. There is something about Montana. It's got like an entrepreneurial / libertarian vibe there that people want to do things on their own terms, and they want to do it big, and they want to do it right. And I think it's also like I mentioned, it's a low population state. There's only just over 1 million people in the whole state. 350,000, 400,000 voters. And so, like, when you're doing something of quality, it's very easy to kind of rise.
Yeah.
There's not a big population around you, and you get a lot of encouragement from everybody else around because they want successes and wins coming out of that ecology. You mentioned it's not a tech hub. Actually, might disagree. It's just small and rising. Montana State University. My son's a freshman at Montana State University now. It is an engineering school.
Oh, very
and,
interesting.
They put out some good engineers. The problem is that the Montana economy doesn't really have the foundation to employ people right out of school. So like they put out amazing engineers and amazing business talent, but they have to leave town to go and work.
Sure.
So now we're in the process of, building that ecosystem so that people, when they graduate, can either stay or we can attract people back once they've left.
Yeah. I mean, Ed, it sounds like at a school like that, if you could keep 5% of them or 10% of them in the town, it'll just snowball.
Yeah, big time. And the entire, the town and the university, everybody's behind that kind of message. And so they're excited when companies like Tim's or companies like ours are like making waves and building a presence there. Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So talk to me about like what the last kind of year has been like with the new administration and how they're approaching defense tech, but also software.
Yeah. So I'm not making any sort of like partisan support or fight statement here at all, but I will say that the disruptive thing that the Trump administration, and specifically Secretary Hegseth and the whole supporting cast of political appointees and other folks in the mix, I think they are at minimum doing the right rhetorical thing by putting out policy memos and certainly Trump with executive orders and everything else in between. Like, they're encouraging the non-traditional contracting base to rise and take advantage of lean, nimble contracting avenues. I actually don't think we yet have seen the true impact of all those moves because, as we all know, any of us who work in this space, like the U.S. government doesn't do anything slow. It turns by degrees, right? This is never going to be like a full right angle turn or anything. But we are very encouraged by the rhetoric, if not the actual material outcomes. And I think the material outcomes will follow. but things like, doubling down on commercial and dual use solutions through the CSO process that Dave Rothside, who you probably know out of Shield Capital, like he and the DIU team invented that thing way back in the day, right? These are nimble contracting authorities that we think will turn into meaningful production and procurement activities in the coming years. So we're very encouraged. And our company has benefited from lots of those contracting pathways. Like the SBIR pathway has been like the thing that young companies monopolize on to get traction with customers and generate RDT&E and all that stuff. But the trick is maturing that and then crossing the chasm to production grade contracts. And so it's no longer enough to just get like a phase 3 award. You got to put money onto those high ceiling IDIQ contracts. So I think it's coming. I think this is a positive wave and there's tailwinds. With the midterms upon us, we'll see what happens if the Democrats take the House, which it seems almost sure that they will. Does that change anything? Does it kind of slow down the pivot to something different and better? I don't think so. I think we've got 2 to 3 years left to really run hard.
I mean, even if someone else is in control of the White House in 3 years, like if you can tell a story where you're going to be more efficient and save money, I think that's going to resonate.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's something that like you didn't know that you needed to do when you started your business that you now, do or need or no?
In our first year, maybe our second year of business, we were founded in December of 18. So in like late 19 or maybe sometime in 2020, it was definitely before the COVID thing hit. So like this before March of 2020, I went down to Orange County. We're up in Montana. Actually, we were in the Bay Area at the time, but now I'm up in Montana. But we went down to Orange County and I met with Palmer and Brian at Anduril.
Yeah. Just
had like a chat because there was some potential partnering energy there and whatever. And on my way out of the office, I was like, hey, you guys have been now running hard for a couple of years. You're obviously bushwhacking ahead of a lot of us. Like, what are some of your lessons learned? And I forget which one of the two of them said it, but the other one was nodding vigorously. One of the two of them said, hire a lobbyist and hire them yesterday. And so like, what they meant was like, there's this whole problem that the vendors and the buyers encounter, and that is not enough resources going to these innovation centers and going out of contracts where they can actually spend it in places where they can spend it. And so what you do is you help them and you help yourself by engaging Congress through the lobbying channel. So we went out almost immediately and built like a really just a shoestring lobbying effort, mostly me, cold calling, House members and senators' offices, trying to like figure out what that even was and what it meant. But I mean, I'll say that engaging in that activity has yielded tens of millions of dollars worth of program benefit for our customers and has allowed us to prevent or stave off, additional rounds of venture capital that would have diluted our cap table, would have diluted the founders' ownership stakes and all that stuff. And it's just an accelerant to changing the way the game is played for our customers and actually delivering your capability. I'm sure you guys do a lot of this.
My favorite theme and my favorite thing to tell young defense entrepreneurs: hire a lobbyist.
Hire a lobbyist.
Go to DC once a month during the season.
Totally.
Go bang down doors.
That's right.
You got your end user. They have no money. That's the secret. No one in this space who's not in the space knows is that you see a big $1.5 trillion budget.
Right.
Guys, all that money's been spent.
Yeah. It's spent well in advance of it ever trickling through the plumbing. Yeah.
And that innovation fund too, 90% of that's going to go to the big guys anyways.
Oh, 100%.
So until that changes, hire lobbyists.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. 100%. I mean,
how often do you go to DC?
I used to go, like you said, every month, every 6-8 weeks. It was a lot. It was a lot of, but once you get a lobbyist, they're doing most of the kind of like daily grind, whatever, relationship
and then
management.
You come kiss babies. Yeah,
that's right. Shake. What is it? Shake babies and kiss hands. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we've done plenty of both, and nowadays I'm probably in DC quarterly, I would say. And like there's still a necessity for a guy like you or for a guy like me to come in and get some FaceTime with any number of folks there, folks in the executive branch, people from the department, members on the Hill, their staff, right? Customers are all over the place over there. And so anyway, I've got plenty of reasons to go. I probably don't go as often as I could or maybe should, but it's about quarterly.
Yeah. Why don't we just focus on the company and the product right now for a couple minutes? So like, tell us about kind of your core products and like what you guys delivered to the Warfighter.
Yeah. So once upon a time, we had one product thesis and built that product, and it's been adopted into programs of record. And what we've segued into as a company is a multi-product platform where we are delivering more and more software-centric solutions for the tactical edge users. So what are we? We're the digital arms room for the modern warrior. We service the infantryman, the person who's out of the tactical edge at the front line, who's putting their body and the bodies of their squad mates, their teammates, their platoon mates, their company mates into harm's way and having to make decisions in that environment. So we have 3 production grade products. The first is a edge-based 3D mapping solution that lives on smartphones that are already being carried by tactical users. Stream video from any number of different ISR platforms, and our technology converts that into 3D maps that are then interrogatable, measurable, whatever, by our AI tools within the UI. The second product is a mobile device optimized biometrics data collection capability that allows you to very quickly vet an identity. So I could very quickly determine if your profile's already if Dan's profile's already in the watch list that are preloaded on the devices, I can determine whether you are or not, Dan. And very quickly understand the human terrain. And the third product, and I'll take a pause here and breathe a moment, but the third product is a mobile device geolocation kind of pattern of life tool where you can understand things like how many Russian affiliated mobile devices are in that trench line 1 kilometer east of Kharkiv, that kind of question, so that you have this really interesting blending of 3D maps with human biometrics, identity information with digital pattern of life for where people are. And it's a very sophisticated, commercially derived intelligence picture for the modern tactician.
That's interesting. How do you make a decision on like, hey, we need to add a new SKU and like build a new product line? Because I'm sure you're always thinking about like what the users are telling you they wish they had, right?
Totally. Well, I mean, like you guys, we built a product, we got into the test and evaluation environment with end users. And as you build those relationships of trust, you naturally encounter problems. They tell you about their problems. You notice gaps in the ecosystem where you're trying to play. And so then you can make like in product investment decisions that you wouldn't have been able to on the outside of that relationship. So at first layer, like the first most important thing is gaining the trust and maintaining the trust with the user community. And you and I both know plenty of companies who go wade in thinking they know best or better, tell the customer what they want or don't want and how things should be, and they burn a bunch of bridges, and that just isn't the way to do things. So at the first layer, it is building and maintaining great relationships of trust with the end users. The second is that you don't want to get distracted. Like you have to remain focused, especially in the early days of building a company. So we were a single product company for a long time. We put the blinders on to all kinds of different things we could have done, different users we could have gone after, right? Like new products, whatever. Like we were tempted to get into hardware. We didn't want to get into hardware, but we were tempted, and God bless you for building, hardware products. We love software. We've learned our hardware lessons from previous companies.
Hardware is easy.
Hardware is a big bet, and it's capital intensive in a way that, we were not nervous about. We just knew that wasn't what we wanted to do. I would suspect in future that we end up having hardware stuff in the portfolio.
You're going to need it. I mean, you know how the end users are. They don't know how to buy software.
Yeah, I mean, you either optimize around a services package where you have software baked in, or you have a hardware package with the software baked in, or you partner. So like our companies could partner as an example, and like one of the two of us kind of delivers our products through the partners, right? So like there's that as well. Yeah.
Interesting. What do you think the next 12 months for you guys look like?
We're going to announce a couple of big things this year. That includes another venture financing round. We're acquisitive. Cool. In the last 2 years, we've bought 2 companies. We're going to continue to do that. I think an industry kind of prognosis, forecast from my chair is that we're now 8, 9, 10 years into this defense technology venture renaissance. The Shield AIs and the Andurils and whatever the world came up in the 2010s, early mid 2010s. And with all the venture money going in and the thousands of companies that have taken venture money to do defense kind of innovation, fund life cycles are 10 years. Most of those companies aren't going to make it past Series A or Series B. So you're going to see all these companies fizzling out. There are going to be fire sales. There's going to be consolidation. I think we're about to see a wave of consolidation. We intend to be a consolidator rather than being one of the consolidated.
Yeah, we're in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these, God bless all the young people coming into defense tech, but They don't hire lobbyists.
No.
They don't get patient capital. And, I think next year is going to be really tough. I don't think any of these guys have lived through a continuing resolution for
That's exactly
what
right.
we dealt with in Trump 1.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And maybe better than most because you've done the startup, entrepreneurs dance before Firestorm, right? Like you know what this is like. And to your point, there are lots of, MIT, Harvard dropouts that thought, oh, we could build the next great X or Y or Z thing for the military and they'll buy it, of course, because it's the best of whatever. And no, sorry, you don't know how to solve the last mile of go-to-market and defense.
It is all about go-to-market if you're listening.
Yeah, totally.
It really is.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can you tell us more about your round, or we got to wait for that information?
You got to wait for that. We are, well, that's a mid-year, maybe a Q3 thing for announcement, but it's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Last question for you before we go back out to the reception here.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
So I am a sucker for the Master and Commander Aubrey Maturin British Royal Navy kind of turn of the 19th century novels. There are 21 of them, or 20 complete ones and a 21st unfinished novel. I have that going on Audible on a continuous rotation. That is always there.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I'm not a full on like self-help like life hack kind of guy.
Yeah.
But I absorb the odd, like self-improvement book. I try to stay down with fiction because I think that allows us to tap into empathy in a way that, people who are just all in on business books or all in on self-help books, like you miss out on kind of the art that really infuses life with joy and empathy. And so I'm a fiction guy. Yeah.
I try and tell like folks like in your 20s, go read all your self-help books. And then go read fiction, fantasy, and then if you want your business books, go read the business adventure books, right? Like the ones where like, how did Bill Gates build Microsoft? Not like here's like you make a note card every day and you do what's on the note card. It's like what ruthless things did he get into to basically become category king?
Totally.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that at all. I think it's sad when I encounter people who lost the taste for fiction in their 40s and 50s. They seem like sad husks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great, man. I mean,
go read some Harry Potter at a minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get some Sorcerer's Stone going, huh?
Anything. Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone.
Is it Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone?
I think in America it's the Sorcerer's Stone.
Emma, what is
Emma's Sorcerer's.
Ah,
Philosopher's was the UK version.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Interesting.
They spell things weird over there.
Yeah. They sure do.
The Commonwealth spelling doesn't make sense to me.
It's my favorite.
My color.
With aluminium.
Yeah.
That one sucks.
Yeah. Or orientate.
Yeah. Or they say tube and they call it the tube.
The tube. The underground.
Yeah, you heard about you ever watch that, you ever get on that app called YouTube?
YouTube, yeah. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Good to see you.
Anytime.
Thanks for listening to the Drone Wars podcast. If you liked what you heard today, please subscribe to catch all the latest insights for all things defense and geopolitics.